Europa, 1920. The Ostendans have finally managed to recapture the city of Bertha and drive the Imperials out of their nation. Vital to the push was the Ostenden Model 8 Gaziantep produced towards the end of the war. Despite being classified as a tank hunter, it was more like a heavy tank, consisting of a turret and heavy armor. After pushing back the Imperials to their border, Ostenda threatened to invade Imperial lands unless they signed a peace treaty. The Imperial vassal state of Alast begged the Imperial Parliament for the treaty to be accepted, to which they begrudgingly agreed. In that war, the Empire lost an estimated total of 150,000 soldiers, while the Ostendans lost around 20,000 soldiers. However, the civilian loss is estimated to be around 50,000. In the aftermath of the war, the Empire has decided that in order to prevent a guerrilla war to ever be that successful again, they will target all civilians from now onwards. How they convince the public it's okay is by their propaganda convincing the people that countries that don't actively hunt Darksons are allies of the Darksons and that their people are Darkson sympathizers. Sadly, this worked, and the Imperial people became supportive of hunting all enemy civilians. Fast forward 3 years and the Empire has declared war on another nation, Terneuzen. Terneuzen is an even smaller nation than Ostenda, being around a fifth of its size. Terneuzen has a mountain range to its east that acts as a natural barrier from Imperial aggression. However, all this did was make the Imperial forces squeeze through the bottleneck in the north at breakneck speeds, like when you put your thumb over the end of a hose that's running water. Terneuzen's capital, Mötlingen, fell in 2 months. Now, Queen Maria Carinthia and her daughter Jessica, as well as the remainder of the army, are trapped in the southeastern corner of the country, with enemies to the north and unwilling to help nations to the south and west. Despite how precarious the situation is, Terneuzen soldiers have managed to capture many Imperial tanks, so now the Queen has asked them to modify them to use some old guns that are available to them. Let's take a look at how the meeting went.
Good day, soldiers. It's very nice to meet you all. My name is Sergeant Julieta, and I'll be catching you all up to speed on the war's progression. As you can see, the war is going terribly, as the majority of the country, including the capital Mötlingen, have been captured by the Imperials in 2 months. And the army and the royal family have been cornered in the southeast corner of the country. What this all obviously means is we're losing the war. But I have a solution. You see, we need to take Imperial light tanks and modify them. QRAI, otherwise known as Queen's Royal Armament Industry, will have us use one of these 3 things. Their 100mm howitzer, their 114mm howitzer, or their 149mm howitzer. Please remember that their 100mm howitzer is in short supply. Unfortunately, the width of the tank cannot be modified, while the height and the length can. You may only increase armor plates, not decrease them unless you're removing a panel to replace it. Removing the turret entirely is okay, as well as making a casemate design. You cannot modify the engine or the internal fuel tank, but you can modify the suspension and transmission. Removing external armored panels is also okay. The engine is called the Mazda V6 1915. Well, that's all, everyone. Good luck, and thank you for your service.